kommer runt, det är personer som tar över. Jag behöver se vad man gick på den runt. Men jag kan inte vara det nog bättre. 4. Den är tid. Jag kan hålla sig på. Helvete. Nej, gick om det. Ja, jag kommer runt, det är personer som tar över. Jag behöver se vad man gick på den runt.
So we're branding the RV tonight. Our channel needs a brand, and that's it. Down to RV. So I'm here today with George with S&S RV Service, and this is in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I decided to stop by here because the sign out front says that they take care of suspension issues, and ever since we bought this RV, we've had some sway. There's been a lot of sway, especially when trucks go by. So I thought it would be good to come by and have George here take a look, and he suggested that we get the Safety Plus steering control and upgrade our rear sway bar, right? The sway bar?
Correct. It's an additional sway bar, which is about twice the diameter as the original. So you have the sway control of the original, plus the second bar is much heavier. And we put the rear one on first because that's where most of your weight is. So this is the level 1 setup that we're doing for him.
Yeah, it's really something I need to do because driving this thing, especially when we went through the mountains over there, it really gets squirrely driving on curvy roads. So this is definitely a necessary upgrade. And what about that steering control? That steering control helps me prevent
Wandering.
That's
and
what
the steering control is a device that mounts parallel to the tie rod. So on the front, tie rod connects the two wheels, and it is spring-loaded and hydraulically dampened to help control with the wind blowing on you. Also, it's a major safety device because if the wheel slips off the edge of the road on a narrow road, the steering wheel won't be snatched out of your hand.
Yeah, so that's also another, I think, necessary upgrade. But while we're here, we're also going to have them look over the rig and check other things out, like the critical systems, the brakes, and and the levelers and stuff like that. So yeah, if you happen to be in the Gettysburg area, S&S RV Service, and let me take a little video to show you what it is before, and then I'll show you how it looks after. All right, so this thing right here is the existing sway bar, and it attaches with these little rods up to the frame of the body, and we're going to be adding an additional one to give more stability. All right, so here's the sway bar underneath, how it looks. So you can see the new sway bar goes behind the factory one. The factory is up there, which I showed you in another clip, but this new sway bar goes behind, and they already have a spot in the frame that has holes, so you don't have to drill anything because these are made specifically for this. So our RV is a 2006 Holiday Rambler Admiral, and it's riding on a Ford F53 chassis. Ford F53 chassis is one of the most common out there. Chevy made a workhorse chassis for a while. They don't do that anymore. Now Freightliner's in the game, but the F53 chassis is very common. They're still using it today. So the benefit, the real benefit I've noticed with this sway bar, and I can't speak highly enough about it, is that we would drive down the road and the whole RV would sway, especially in corners or when semi-trucks went by. And now with this new sway bar, when you go into corners, you can definitely feel a performance in the handling. It's really a big difference. And if an empty semi-truck tries to pass us, we actually start to push them off the road now. So I don't get that tail swing and all that sway back and forth that we used to get. If you're gonna spend money on an upgrade to your suspension, I definitely recommend getting this done. It made a huge difference. It just feels safer driving. All right, so let's talk about the safety steer. Safety plus steering control. Yep. All right, so this thing makes a big difference. That when you're steering, it slowly turns the wheel back to center. It also stops, like if you hit potholes where the wheel would jerk side to side, doesn't do that anymore. It also claims that if you get a front end blowout, the tire won't rip out of your hand, as explained earlier in the video. I would have to say that I don't notice the difference on this as much, except when semis are passing. When semis are passing, we used to get blown all over the place. This thing absorbs it, and I don't have to overcorrect the steering wheel to compensate for the draft created by passing larger vehicles. So I also highly recommend this safety steer. You know, you can't cheat safety. It's something that I felt our family needed. Additional protection so that if something does go wrong, we have as much as possible that'll keep us safe. This is just another measure. With a recommendation from a new subscriber of ours, Andrew, I'd like to thank you, Andrew. We decided to come up to High Rock. This place is awesome. Look at this place. Oh man, the view! Oh, this is awesome. Ooh, doggy, there's some stairs. And I am freezing. Oh wow! This is probably the coolest thing ever.
Jeff is scared to go up here, so I'm gonna take you on a little journey. And this is like literally on top of the world. I mean, look at this. Woo! Oh, it is super windy right now. Woo! What a view. It is freezing though. Now honey, this is on top of the world. Oh my. Woo!